We turn to the science of beauty. Dr.Oz, as you know, is the Oprah show health expert, and he and Dr. Michael Roizen of the Cleveland Clinic have written a book, You Being Beautiful, the Owner's Manual to Inner and Outer Beauty. And he came by to explain to us what he really means, because he says every single person is beautiful if you walk into the room expressing your health. So when you say beauty, you're talking about beauty as it exemplifies health.
I'm a heart surgeon. My interest in this topic is all about health. But it turns out that beauty is very well correlated with health. I mean, think about it. It's not just some issue of vanity. People who are perceived to be beautiful are better liked. They're perceived to be more competent. They tend to get more money for the same job, all by 2-to-1 margins, by the way. So what is it that makes us hardwired to seek beauty out? Well, long before we had blood tests and CT scans, I could, in a quarter of a second, figure out if I wanted to mate with somebody. And that means that I was hardwired to look for that. And we've forgotten that basic insight. But as we think back to it, we begin to realize that there's some basic measurements that tell us if there's underlying health problems that are bubbling forth towards the surface.
Now, I know you're going to start and go head to toe, basically. So let's start. Hair is the day today. And hair, what do you see in hair about health when you walk up and meet somebody?
Well, if you think about hair as this rapidly growing structure, it tells us immediately if you've got hormone problems like thyroid disease, are you eating the right kind of diet, are there toxins in your life, how are you coping with stress? And let me show you as an example why that's so. If you look at this animation and just go beneath the skin, you see these little bulbs? Those are little follicles from where the hair grows. There's blood supply there. There are chemicals and oils that can influence how this hair comes out. The color of the hair is influenced by this, but let's get closer. Look into the hair itself, and you see those tiles that layer on each other? When you, for example, blow dry your hair or iron your hair, you destroy that. As the hair grows, chemicals allow it to mature and have the body you want. But if you're poisoning the hair follicles, they begin to shrink down and turn to peach fuzz.
Well, I want to come back to the treatment in a minute, but because you call it hairicide.
Hairicidal.
We're all committing hairicidal acts every single day. But you say that one of the tests you can do is a baldness test. Now, let me understand first. 80% of men, 40% of women will lose hair. And is this normal? Is this just genetic? Or is this a sign of illness? Well,
genes do play a very important role, depending on how much of a testosterone-type hormone your body makes. But women don't realize that they're afflicted quite frequently as well. And they don't actually know if they're losing a lot of hair. So we do something called the main squeeze test. So here's a simple straw. You want to grab about that much hair. So grab it at the very base, right at the base. It's about 60 strands.
Grab it where I don't think I need it.
And then gently pull up towards the ceiling. Pull, 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 all the way to the top. And then count how many hairs are in your fingers. So I've got 2. How many do you have?
I don't have any.
Oh, that's even better. So if you're losing less than 6 hairs when you pull like that, that means you don't have a problem. If you're losing more than 6 hairs, then it's worth looking at whether there are things that are happening on the inside of your body that are being first reflected in your hair.
Well, you said, for one thing, thyroid.
Thyroid deficiency is the most common hormonal deficiency in Americans. By the time you age 35, you ought to know what those numbers are. But for sure, if your hair has lost its body, if it feels like maybe it's coming out, you want to check thyroid levels.
And something else you said, we think with men of having natural, healthy hair loss. And there is such a thing.
Of course. And there are many men who lose their hair. It's not a problem. And by the way, this comes back to that basic issue of authentic beauty. And that's why we actually have a quiz to figure out what is authentic beauty. Because your self-image of your body is not always where you want it to be. And the bigger the difference between those two, the less happy, the less satisfied you're going to be. And just like you have an IQ test, you actually can measure that. And we work together with some very strong academicians to create this UQ test. It's on the abcnews.com website.
Yes, it has great things. For instance, you circle how you think you look and then how you would like to look.
Exactly.
And then you do a reality check.
And by the end of the time you're done the quiz, and it's not just body shape, although that's an important part, but how beautiful do you perceive yourself on the inside as well? Do you have the energy you want to get up and do things you want to do in life? Do you feel pains? And are there words that describe you today that aren't the words that you think should be describing you tomorrow? The bigger that gap, the less satisfied you are in life. The difference between an IQ test and the UQ test, the happiness quotient, is that you can change the happiness quotient. And as we go through these shows, I think we'll convince people that if, for example, you understand your hair and you understand what simple things you can do to improve how it looks, then you'll be able to go there.
Let's talk about them. Okay. What's your objective? Is it long, if you want it long hair? Is it shiny? What are the things you're going for, and how do you avoid committing hairicide?
Well, the key factors, and realize, as I showed you, as those follicles come out and give us hair, those hairs have tiles on them. When you blow dry or flatten out hair, you actually evaporate those tiles. They start to crack, to fall off, and as they fall off, you lose the body of the hair. Likewise, if you're shampooing your hair every day, it doesn't make any sense. Unless you're working under a car, just wash your hair if it's dirty, because you actually overwash it. You don't get the sebum, the cream, to come up from the scalp.
Diet?
Diet critically important, because certain foods, for example, biotins, which are found in B-type vitamin, that are found in eggs and avocados, are very important to rebuilding those shingles. And omega-3 fats found in walnuts and flax seeds, you have to make the oil of the flaxseed to get that, are hugely effective by treating your hair, especially when it gets moist, like a fine silk blouse. And not combing it and shoving it and rubbing it and damaging it by all the things we do that are hairicidal. And eating the right foods to nourish it, it's a beautiful example of how inner health will percolate through to give you outer beauty.
And finally, vitamin supplements?
Vitamin supplements are effective in providing basic health, but I don't think we can correlate vitamins across the board with health. Now, if you're not getting your omega-3s or your biotins, then you're going to have to take it through a supplement. But in general, you should get the hair you want by avoiding injuring it and eating the foods that allow your body to naturally craft what you want.
Okay, we've started with hair, and we're going to work our way down. Believe me, a lot more to go. Thank you so much.
Always
and again, the book, as we know, is You Being Beautiful, and we're fighting over it here. And you can read an excerpt of Dr. Oz's book, You Being Beautiful, and take your Q quiz at abcnews.com.